Hello, my name's Aaron Quigley and I'm a professor here in the School of Computer Science in the University of St Andrews. I apologise that I can't be with you today. I'm currently attending the International Conference on Ubiquitous Computing in Zurich, where I'm making this video to give you an overview and a little bit of an introduction to this module on human-computer interaction principles. The first question I think, if you're thinking about doing this module, to ask yourself is, what is human-computer interaction? Why would you care about it? Why do other people care about it? And what are you going to actually learn? The interface is the point of contact between us and the computer. And that's the point where interaction actually occurs. So when you're interested in human-computer interaction, what you do is you think about that particular point in time and space and the interaction between the two. So that involves the study, the planning, the design of that actual interaction between people and computers. Now, HCI has grown over the last 4 decades. We've seen the time of the earliest use of computers through the 1960s, where we would have had tens of thousands of computers, up until today, where we've got billions of computers around the planet, and that's ever increasing. So for me, it's quite important to think about that history, but also to recognize that as a result, HCI is a relatively young discipline, but it's growing all the time. And what we'll do in this module is try to focus between looking at the history of where we've come from, picking out interesting points along the way, showing the mistakes that we've made. So the evolution of computing really has quite an interesting history when you start looking at the machines that we've been interacting with over the past, the scale of the machines, the types of devices, the types of interfaces that we would have, the growth in the memory, the growth in the processing, the growth in the use of graphical displays, the types of interfaces that we would have relied upon, people were very willing to use even in the 1980s and 1990s, that people would no longer be willing to use today. So if we just think of this evolution in computing, if we just think about what we've come from the situation of many people to one computer, to the stage of the personal computing era, which we are living in today with one-to-one computing, and this push into the future, into this more ubiquitous computing future, where there's going to be many computers per person, which is already occurring for many individuals. We can see that there's all kinds of changes in terms of miniaturization. So what we really have today is a lot of different computing. We have the desktop computers that we're familiar with, the laptops, the gaming consoles, the mobile devices, the tablet computers, the Kindle readers, the televisions, the Surface computers. And then we have you, the human. What do you have to do? Well, what you have to do is you have to deal with all of this interaction. And this is the challenge in HCI. Thinking about what should that interaction look like. This module really has 2 major components to it. It has the continuous assessment, which is going to be made up of a couple of practicals, essays, and presentation in the first case, with the following deadlines, as you can see. And then following that, another practical with a slightly larger report, and both have deadlines that are spread out across the academic semester. The continuous assessment is worth about 40%, and the final exam is worth about 60%. You'll be seeing me, if you take this module, quite a lot. We'll be together from 11 to 1 on Tuesdays every week here in the Jack Cole 1.33a room, and then from 12 to 1 on Wednesdays every odd week of term in weeks 1 through 5, i.e. the odd weeks of term. One nice thing about taking this module this year is that you get to attend an international conference as part of the teaching experience that you're going to have in this module. So I'm going to ask you to, during a regular lecture slot, to attend 5 research paper presentations in Younger Hall in a specific topic which is very relevant to this module on redefining surfaces, and that's going to be in week 4 from 11 to 1 on Tuesday the 8th of October. You'll be attending just this session, not the entire conference. It goes on for a week, or there's 2 different conferences that are going on. Website that you can actually go to, there's about 85 items on the reading list. We have 1 main textbook, a set of other items that are in there, along with the course lecture notes and slides. So the topics that we're going to be covering in this module, again, of course, we'll be grounding our current understanding of HCI in a view of the historical perspective of where we're going. But some kind of key elements that we're going to basically building blocks that you're going to be able to use within this module, but then, of course, across your entire master's and into the future, we'll be thinking about human cognition and what role that plays when we're thinking about the interaction between man and machine, or human and machine. Ergonomics is an old aspect of HCI, but it's still very relevant. Usability remains a cornerstone of a lot of what we will be talking about in HCI, and that of course then leads into interface design. We'll be looking at surface user interfaces, and you'll be getting to attend this international conference to see the absolute latest breaking research that is being presented at this conference. We'll also be touching on some other paradigms and some other forms of HCI that are emerging and quite relevant for exploring data, like information visualization. We'll be picking new types of paradigms that are beyond the types of HCI or the types of interaction that you might be used to. If you're interested in learning more about human-computer interaction, specifically the principles of human-computer interaction, I'd like to welcome you to join this module. Lectures start on Tuesday, the 17th of September in the Jack Cole. And if you have any questions, you can drop me an email. Thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing some of you next week.